I'm AJ Legault live in Louisa, where a family feud explodes into violence. 3 are dead, 4 are wounded. Exclusive details in moments.
Our top story this morning, a major shooting in Louisa County leaves 3 dead and 4 wounded. It happened here near the area of Kents Mill Road and Twiggs Drive. 8 News anchor AJ Legault is live on the scene now with the very latest. Good morning, AJ.
Good morning there, Amy. As you said, 3 people are injured, 4 more are dead as a family feud explodes into violence here in Louisa County Sunday evening. It began just before 5 o'clock. Sources tell me Charles Zeke Spinagle opened fire with a semi-automatic .22 caliber handgun, shooting multiple nephews, his sister, brother-in-law, and even his own son.
It's very shocking and very depressing. Words can't describe. It's definitely very emotional.
When the first deputies arrived on scene, I'm told they witnessed one of the victims being shot and then exchanged fire at close quarters with the gunman who was killed.
Deputies arrived on scene. They were confronted by the suspect, and the deputies returned fire, and the suspect died at the scene.
Also killed on scene was a pit bull belonging to the gunman.
The suspect released the dog, and in the attempt of attacking the deputies returned fire and shot the dog and killed the dog at the scene.
Now, the big question this morning is just what sparked this violent attack. I'm told it may have had something to do with a feud over property lines between a number of family members who live very close together down this dirt road in a rural part of Louisa County. Now, I did get a chance to speak with one of the deputies who was involved in the shooting briefly. He tells me he's okay, and it was the first time he'd fired his weapon in the line of duty. All of the surviving victims were taken to UVA Medical Center in Charlottesville. Our team coverage now continues with Chelsea Washington.
We're here at UVA Medical Center where the 4 victims that were injured during tonight's shooting were taken. We spoke to a family member who's an uncle to several of the victims, and he tells us his heart is very heavy tonight.
I just feel that this whole thing is a real shame. That these types of occurrences with guns and people shooting people is just getting more and more common, and it's really become ridiculous. No matter what had happened in the family and no matter what disputes had went on, there is no need for violence of this type. We have a lot of people without family tonight, sons that were lost, daddies that were lost, mothers that were almost lost, and this is just entirely too much.
Now, we have received word from the family that out of the 4 victims, one of them is in critical condition. So the family tells me they're keeping their fingers crossed. In Charlottesville, Chelsea Washington, 8 News.
We have team coverage this morning. 8 News anchor AJ Legault and Amy McLean both standing by. We'll start with you, AJ. Good morning.
Good morning there, Amy. A one-armed gunman went on a rampage, killing 2, wounding 4 others before dying himself in a shootout with a sheriff's deputy. This morning, all that remains at the scene is a bloodstained hat and discarded first aid supplies along with a driver's license belonging to one of the victims. But Sunday evening, it was chaos.
I heard 4 to 5 gunshots. Pop, 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 pop.
Helicopters landing and taking off, rushing victims to the hospital. It began just before 5 o'clock. Sources tell me Charles Zeke Spinagle opened fire with a semi-automatic .22 caliber handgun, shooting multiple nephews, his sister, brother-in-law, and even his own son.
It's very shocking and very depressing. Words can't describe. It's definitely very emotional.
When the first deputies arrived on scene, I'm told they witnessed one of the victims being shot and then exchanged fire at close quarters with the gunman who was killed.
Deputies arrived on scene. They were confronted by the suspect, and the deputies returned fire, and the suspect died at the scene.
Also killed on scene was a pit bull belonging to the gunman.
The suspect released the dog, and in the attempt of attacking the deputies returned fire and shot the dog and killed the dog at the scene.
For that deputy who was involved in the shootout, it was an extremely close call. I'm told a bullet hit right here on the back of his patrol car within inches of his head. The good news is none of the deputies were injured. The 4 surviving victims were all taken to UVA Medical Center. Now, for more on that, I want to send it to Amy McLean in the studio.
Where's Daddy?
You want to blow a kiss to Daddy?
Is that where Daddy's at?
Hi,
Is he looking down on you?
4-year-old Nathaniel Cooper is the youngest survivor of the deadly shooting rampage that ended with 3 of his family members dead and 4 wounded. Among the dead, Nathaniel's father.
He just looked at me and looked me straight in my eyes and he said, "My daddy is dead."
He was down and it was dying.
He talks about the incident because he was there,
Nathaniel watched his father, Marky Cooper Jr., die, and his grandparents, Kitty and Mark Sr., get shot.
He just says that his daddy's been shot and he's dead, but at the same time, he doesn't understand what dead means. He thinks that we're going to go see his dad. He wants me to call heaven and tell him to come home.
A little boy without a father, an entire family devastated, all because of a feud over a 1.5-acre plot of land worth $52,000.
Do you love Daddy? I love Daddy too. I miss Daddy.
Tonight on 8 News at 6, hear from the gunman's sister who watched her son be killed and was wounded herself while on the phone with 911. In Louisa, AJ Legault, 8 News.
It just keeps going. Keeps going after you, you know. You're moving, you're getting it.
Kitty Cooper reliving the 6 minutes and 18 seconds that changed her and her family's lives forever.
Tried to dodge, I tried to run. I had a hard time running. I run around vehicles. He was trying to get me.
The out-of-control gunman, Kitty's own brother, Zeke Spinagle.
If you're laying on the ground, he shoot you once, he's going to shoot you again until you can't get up.
There'd been a long-standing family argument over a plot of land left to 6 siblings when Kitty and Zeke's mother died. Much of the family was there Sunday afternoon when Kitty says Zeke lost it. She heard a shot, then saw her 22-year-old son Marky bleeding.
He said, man had been shot. He walks a little bit, falls to the ground. That was my boy. I seen his last walk, his last breath.
Kitty's husband, Mark Sr., was shot through the arm. Kitty was on the phone with 911 when she was hit in the breast.
I turned around, and that's when it got me. But if I didn't, it would have got me from my back.
Before officers arrived and shot Zeke, Kitty's son and nephew Charlie were dead, and 2 other nephews wounded.
My brother shot him. He wasn't himself. That's not Zeke.
Not the brother you knew.
Right, no.
Today, Kitty just hugs her now fatherless grandson and prays for answers to the madness.
Where's Daddy?
You want to blow a kiss to Daddy?
Is that where Daddy's at?
In Louisa, AJ Legault, 8 News. Just how many times gunman Zeke Spinagle shot at his family is not known, but this search warrant we obtained shows he was shooting a semi-automatic handgun with 11-round capacity. After the shootout with deputies was over, there were still 5 cartridges in the gun. The family tells us he reloaded at least once. That means he may have shot 17 times.
And he's coming up the driveway, just punch up.
Keeps going. Keeps going after you, you know. You're moving, you're getting it.
We've heard the victims describe the shooting spree.
My brother shot him.
But now Spinagle's family tells me something else happened during the madness that they forgot to even tell investigators. He tried to burn down the trailer at the center of the family feud.
My husband got it out.
Kitty Cooper tells us even though her husband Mark had already been shot through the arm, he was able to put out the fire before it really took hold.
Mark was doing it with his shirt, trying to get the fire out. Finally got the fire out, because this could have got up in flames.
Up in flames with a number of young children, including Kitty's grandson, inside. 4-year-old Nathaniel lost his father in the shooting rampage.
Where's Daddy?
You want to blow a kiss to Daddy?
Is that where Daddy's at?
Both state police and the Louisa Sheriff's Department tell me they were unaware there had even been a fire. In Louisa, AJ Legault, 8 News. When Zeke Spinagle shot 6 of his family members, killing 2 on Sunday, it made national headlines. Now, the survivors tell us they feel as if they're being victimized all over again by the media coverage and the reaction of many in the community.
We got the kids in the house. We're afraid Zeke was going to start shooting up the trailer, so we were laid out on the floor.
Shannon Miller reliving the horrifying minutes when her longtime boyfriend's father began his shooting rampage.
It's always going to hurt.
Targeting numerous family members.
There's just a hole. It'll never be filled.
Shannon's boyfriend, Charlie Stedman, was killed when he ran outside just as deputies arrived.
He turned around and laid back on the ground, and he told me, "I think this is it, baby. I love you."
Shannon says the much publicized family feud over the property has been overblown.
We ate dinner with Zeke every night. Zeke and Charlie and our kids, or whoever else was here.
And she'll never understand what set off Spinagle's murderous course.
I don't feel any anger towards Zeke. He hurt me and he hurt a lot of people, but something snapped in Zeke, and I don't know what it was.
What does have her upset is the way the family's being portrayed in the community.
I want people to stop bad-mouthing us. We're going through enough. We don't need any more.
Tonight at 6, one of the shooting victims speaking publicly for the first time. AJ Legault, 8 News.
in this one. The bullet's still in there.
Gerald Stedman Jr. showing us his wounds.
They shot me once in the chest and once in the arm.
Gerald speaking publicly for the first time because he and other family members feel they're being portrayed in a bad light, all because of the crazed actions of his uncle, Zeke Spinagle.
He just snapped, he just went off the deep end.
Gerald says he heard a shot, went running, and saw his cousin Marky Cooper lying on the ground, Zeke standing over him.
I told him to give me his gun because he done shot his nephew. I thought he was out of bullets and he wasn't. He just turned around and shot me.
Spinagle also tried to set the trailer on fire using a milk jug of gasoline. Inside at the time, a number of women and young children.
We're afraid Zeke was going to start shooting up the trailer, so we were laid out on the floor.
Charlie Stedman, Shannon's boyfriend, died running outside to warn deputies about where his father was.
He turned around and laid back on the ground, and he told me, "I think this is it, baby. I love you." I don't feel any anger towards Zeke. He hurt me, and he hurt a lot of people, but something snapped in Zeke, and I don't know what it was.
The family asked that they not be painted with a broad brush based on one man's unconscionable action, saying even their kids are being targeted with ridicule at school. AJ Legault, 8 News.